Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's San Francisco Bay Area Housing Market Update. Happy 4th of July. I thought I'd kind of dress up in the occasion with my, patriotic colors of red, white, and blue. So I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend this week. Glad it's Friday and it's already July 3rd. I always say this, but time flies, and yeah, it's pretty exciting. But anyways, I hope everyone's still staying safe. I know that there's some outdoor restaurants that are opening now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the weekend. All right, so let's get started with this week's housing market update. So just a quick summary before I start. So I'll be going over the monthly summary for June of this year, as well as the first week of June 26th through July 3rd. So today, the quick outline is the market updates for the month of June, as well as the first week of July for condos and single family homes, current housing trends in terms of what's today's mortgage rates, are evictions looming. There's some speculation that after the eviction moratorium is finished at the end of this month, that there will be a wave of evictions coming. So we'll go through that as well. Mortgage demands versus current mortgage interest rates right now. Bay Area rents by the numbers. We'll go over San Francisco, but also the rest of the Bay Area and how the pandemic right now is affecting the rental market, and also updates for me. There's I started a new podcast with Matthew Ma, and we'll be doing regular weekly podcasts every Wednesdays. So look out for that. And I'll be having my virtual open house on Saturday and Sundays from 1 to 3 p.m., including this weekend, so tomorrow for the 4th. And it's all going to be virtual, so you can enjoy it when you're having some champagne outside and just come to my open house too. And in conclusion, I can answer some questions for you as well. Okay, so let's get right to it. So this is the single family homes sold in the month of June of 2020 versus 2019. On the left side, you see 199 homes were sold last year, the same month of this year, 2020. So we had 152 homes that were sold. Mind you that these were completely sold, but there might also be some that are kind of pending too, because last year it's completely all the homes that were sold. So that's something to keep in mind. And we see a similar trend with condos too. So last year of June, we saw 273 condos that were sold versus this year of 156. So we are seeing this decrease because, like I've said in my previous presentations, that there just aren't enough listings available right now. So that might also attest to the decreased amount of listings that are sold. Now let's go over the first week of July. So from June 26th until July 3rd, we've seen 104 homes sold the same week of last year versus 90 homes sold for single family homes sold this year. And for condos, it's a similar trend as well. So we've seen 133 condos sold the same week of last year versus 109 sold and pending for this year. I want to quickly go over the mortgage rates for today. So as of today in San Francisco, if you put 20% down on let's say $1 million home with a good credit score on a single family house, you would you would get a rate of about 3.5% for a 30-year fix, and a 15-year fix you'll see about 2.8%. All right, so let's get into the current events right now. So eviction moratoriums nationwide are set to expire later this month, potentially thrusting tens of thousands of people into a housing crisis. So Congress in March passed a federal mandate prohibiting evictions or foreclosures until July 24th in response to the coronavirus pandemic. But as the deadline quickly approaches, experts warn that unless Congress passes more relief, renters might be forced out on the streets. So across the country, nationwide, thousands of evictions are either pending or processing, possibly setting up a wave of newly homeless people in the next few months. The pandemic has pushed millions of Americans into unemployment, leaving many unable to keep up with monthly rent and food demands. So based on the CARES Act, which came into effect in late March, this put a temporary pause on evictions and foreclosures as millions of Americans grappled with the economic turmoil brought on by the pandemic. So that relief extends only to federally assisted properties though. So we might see that as soon as these moratoriums are lifted, that there are massive evictions. The House Democrats on Monday passed a bill that would halt evictions and foreclosures through March of 2021. And the bill was sponsored by Representative Maxine Waters of California, which includes $100 billion allocated to rental assistance programs and another $75 billion relief fund for homeowners. So the bill is not expected to pass the Senate, which is expected to reconvene on July 20th after they have 2 weeks of vacation, because it's the 4th of July and people deserve to get some rest too. And based on San Francisco, so as you know, you cannot be evicted during the coronavirus pandemic right now. You can get more time to pay your rent, but these and other protections do not exclude you from not paying your rent. In other words, you still owe your landlord any missed rent payments. So on June 26th, Mayor Breed issued an executive order. So it is currently in effect until July 31st and imposes new rules to protect residential tenants affected by COVID-19. So basically, you cannot be evicted during the coronavirus outbreak, in which this rule will stay in place until September 30th. However, it will not protect you from eviction if the eviction is due to violence, threats of violence, or health and safety issues. So you have 6 months to pay your missed rent. If you missed a rent payment that was due between March 13th and July 31st of this year due to financial impacts of COVID-19, then you have until January 31st of 2021 to pay. Financial impact means any loss of income due to reduced work hours, temporary business closure or slowdown, layoffs, or increased expenses. So when the extension period ends and you're unable to pay the missed rent, then your landlord will be able to take you to housing court. The number of borrowers in government and private sector coronavirus-related mortgage bailouts just fell by the largest weekly volume since these plans were put in place. That's great news. However, there are warning signs that the programs could swell again. As of June 30th, 4.58 million homeowners were in forbearance plans, according to Black Knight, a mortgage data and technology firm. So this represents 8.6% of all active mortgages, down from 8.8% the previous week. Added up, all the loans in forbearance represent just under $1 trillion. The volume likely fell in part because more than half of all active forbearance plans, many of which were set up with the initial 90-day periods, began in late March and early April. So they would therefore be scheduled to expire or be reviewed for extension in June. There is still great uncertainty ahead, given the recent spike in COVID-19 around the country and the scheduled end of expanded unemployment benefits on July 31st. The surge in mortgage demand from home buyers over the past 2 months appears to be waning, even as mortgage rates continue to drop. Mortgage applications to purchase a home fell for the second straight week, down 1% from the previous week, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association. And purchase volume was still 15% higher than 1 year ago, but that annual comparison is now shrinking. The weakening in activity is potentially a signal that pent-up demand is starting to wane and that low housing supply is limiting prospective buyers' options. However, the average purchase application loan size increased, which indicates that the tight inventory is leading to faster price growth. Investors are contemplating the risk of the recent resurgence of COVID-19 cases to the labor market and economy, and treasury rates and mortgage rates are probably moving lower as a result. So mortgage rates fell even lower at the start of this week, marking yet another record low and making June the best month in the history of the mortgage market. And Bay Area apartment rents continued to drop in June as the coronavirus kept most offices closed and layoffs mounted. So one-bedroom rents fell compared to the prior year in 27 out of the 31 Bay Area cities. So that's a lot of cities. The biggest drops were concentrated in major Silicon Valley tech hubs, including Cupertino, the home of Apple, Mountain View, where Google is headquartered, and Menlo Park, Facebook's hometown. And those cities have some of the region's highest rents. And Emeryville was the only East Bay city that saw a double-digit drop. San Francisco's one-bedroom rents plunged 11.8%, which is the highest drop on record and the biggest among major U.S. cities. And San Francisco remains the most expensive city in the country to rent. So widespread work from home policies are pushing tenants to reconsider whether continuing expensive leases is worth it. So many tech companies, including Facebook and Google, are allowing workers to stay home until the end of the year. And I made a quick chart that basically summarizes the amount of, or the percentage drop of the average rent for a one bedroom. So let's see. So Mountain View, where Google is headquartered, saw the Bay Area's second biggest one-bedroom apartment rent drop in June during the coronavirus epidemic, according to, and also in San Francisco downtown, Soma and Hayes Valley, they saw some of the biggest rent drops, while demand increased in outer neighborhoods like the Sunset, Richmond, and Lakeshore. Tenants are not having to commute to downtown and they're able to access more outdoor space. And those areas become more desirable. So if you look at the chart here, San Francisco dropped 11.8% to a average rental price for a one bedroom of $32.80. That's still high, but it still dropped 11.8%. Mortgage rates hit a new record low heading into the holiday weekend as a resurgence of coronavirus cases prompted investors to rush to the relative safety of the bond markets. So the average rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage is 3.07%, and that's the lowest in a data series that goes back to 1971 and down from 3.13% last week. That's based on Freddie Mac. And the average 15-year rate tumbled to a 7-year low of 2.56% nationally. And according to Sam Cater, who's a Freddie Mac's chief economist, it's basically said that mortgage rates continue to slowly drift downward with a distinct possibility that the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage could dip below 3% later this year. On the economic front, incoming data suggests the rebound in economic activity has paused in the last couple of weeks with modest declines in consumer spending and a pullback in purchase activity. So overall, new coronavirus cases in the United States have risen sharply in recent weeks, leading investors to worry that renewed lockdowns will again depress the economic activity, and that's according to Goldman Sachs. And while newly confirmed infections have been declining in former hotspots such as New York and New Jersey, several states across the South and West have set single-day records. The United States recorded 52,789 new coronavirus cases on Wednesday, which is the largest single-day total since the start of the pandemic. Now, a little bit aside from real estate. So some updates about, what I'm up to currently. So I'm starting a new podcast called The Truth About Real Estate with Matthew Ma. He is wonderful at what he does, very knowledgeable, very experienced. He's a great realtor investor, and he's going to be talking mostly about syndications and how you can get more money into your pockets. And we'll be basically like tag team partners on this. So please subscribe. You do need an Apple account, but hopefully you have some sort of Apple ID or something, username. So you can just, the link is in the description where I put the information for this video as well. So please go in there and subscribe if you can. I would really appreciate it, and it'll be super helpful. Last but not least, I'm having my virtual social open house again, and it's going to be from Saturdays and Sundays from 1 to 3 p.m. I'm going to be having it consistently throughout this month. And if you need any more information, there is the website right there, 1075market408.com, and other virtual open houses that come up, I will make sure to put them on Facebook and my social media as well. All right, guys. So with that, don't forget to subscribe to all my social media for weekly housing updates, and also to see cute videos of me and my cat. And feel free to leave comments on all of my posts on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and everything else. I love to connect with you and learn how I can help you. So if you would like to work with me on finding your next home or investment property, get an estimate of a current property for selling, or know of anyone who would like to receive any of my services, please reach out to me. I am available. I have my phone all the time. So yeah, thank you for joining me on week 1 of the July weekly housing market update in San Francisco and the Bay Area. And I'll see you again during my open house tomorrow from 1 to 3 p.m. As you are enjoying the sunny weather outside. And also every Fridays at 2 p.m. as we go over the market updates. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day, guys. Bye. Happy 4th of July. Bye.